Hello and welcome to UK versus. We're talking alternate universes. So we're talking about the player experience bundles, cards from other IPs, and how they can really be shown off in these new ways. And I thought I'd get in some help when I'm talking about this. So from a parallel universe where he's actually top cut a major event, we have the UVS Hermit Cameron.
Wow, yeah, I don't feel called out at all.
The master, the master of the alternate universe, trolling MTG players thinking they're going to get revealed early. We have Kenny the Geek, and
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
And fresh from the Starfleet universe, on loan to us by Brad Barmer, we have Toadsy of Deck Check Universes. How are you all doing?
Hello.
I was doing fine until about 3 minutes ago.
So, to put some context on it, we've had a fair amount of experience bundles in the past, but it's kind of started to ramp up a little bit because we had Fresh Cut Grass last year as a April Fool's that wasn't an April Fool's. Then we've had the Fatal Fury City of Wolves t-shirt that came with the retro promos. Now we've got this solo leveling player experience bundle coming in, and I don't think they're anywhere near done. So I wanted to talk about the potential of alternate universes, and apparently I can't spell experience, and experience bundles. And I wanted to talk about how we're feeling about this, how we feel about mechanically unique cards behind paywalls, and just have a kind of round table discussion around how we feel this is good, if this is any good for the community and for the game. So, Cameron, you've been quite vocally against this, so we'll start with you. Just give me like your elevator pitch of your opinions of the experience bundles.
Yeah, I was especially very negative about these at first because just from a IP standpoint, it kind of feels like a slap in the face to people who have really wanted like more solo leveling content. It's like here's Levi, but he looks like a girl now. It just feels rough, personally. But the more like you and I talked about it offline, and some other people have talked to me about it, I've heard a lot of other content creators talk about it and how good it is to get these kind of cool reskins just to get their foot in the door. And I think if done a little bit differently, it could actually be a really cool thing. And maybe I just let my blood run hot for a little bit, which I normally don't. But I'm kind of coming around to it. If done, I think a little bit better. Like if we didn't have them as standard characters, but maybe used like retro characters and a way to bring new faces in with pre-existing cards that maybe have rotated, so it gives freshness and brings some flavors of old favorites back.
Yeah,
I think it could be better going forward.
But we can get into that a little bit more.
The most negative in the community about this, I think.
You were the most publicly negative.
Well, they shouldn't have given me a platform.
Kenny the Geek, how are you feeling about the player experience bundles?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they're kind of a mixed bag, right? Like even out of the four, obviously the Sung Jin Woo one is drastically better than the others. It comes with play sets of these other cards. It gives a whole, even though it's just an errata of Sung Jin Woo in a sense, they didn't give us just that card. So I feel like that, even if the others just came with a playset of one attack each or something like that, if there was, if there was more added to it than the others, like I'm going to buy the Shadow Monarch one. I doubt I'm going to buy the others, but I'm also not like a huge solo leveling fan person. Like it's cool. I've just finished the second season recently, but it wasn't my favorite thing, so it doesn't excite me as much. But the cards do, so it's who's the target audience with it is the big thing. And then is it instead of, or is it in addition to? Like if this is all we're getting for more solo leveling stuff, that sucks. If this is just a placeholder in between and there's still something else in the future, awesome. Like that's more exciting. So I think that, yeah, having that expectation of more solo leveling, if this is it, then it makes them feel, just not as good as if they're just another little bonus thing that got thrown in there.
That makes a lot of sense. And Toadsy, How are you feeling about the Player Experience Bundles?
I kind of agree with Kenny, where I feel like it's a very like mixed bag situation, where there's a lot of good, but also a lot of like things that we need to be potentially worried about. I think it's a really cool concept where you can get cards with a playmat, because if they do end up making more of these where they include playable cards with a playmat, $40 for 24 cards isn't that bad. But I also am worried with the idea of just like reskinning existing characters instead of making new character designs for certain characters from IPs. And I think that's like a little bit lazy, and I think it's a little bit boring personally.
That makes a lot of sense. So before we get into the soul leveling and like the reskins and stuff like that, let's go a little bit further back, and we'll come back to the fresh cut grapple when we talk about the mechanically new aspect. But we had the Fatal Fury City of Wool, and for that one, it was T-shirts. You got the card with the T-shirt, but they were retro characters and legacy characters that have been bumped up to retro, but that's where they stayed. And how do we feel about that aspect? We'll go around the same order we had there. But how are you feeling about reprinting cards that are a bit harder to get? Because I mean, Rock Howard is very hard to get hold of after so many years. But then also keeping them in a non-competitive format. I know there's a lot of players that would love to see those characters be standard legal.
Oh, me first?
Yeah, you first.
Yeah. If they would commit to making retro a more supported format, I'd be down for it. My issue is this character worth $40? Because I get that you're getting the shirt out of it too, but kind of like with the experience bundles with the mats, I have enough mats. I'm going to be giving mats away when I hit a certain number of subscribers. I don't need any more mats. But the character, like, that's why I think the Sungjin Woo experience bundle is good, because you get so much more. If they had said, hey, with this $40 t-shirt, you're going to get a character, to a playset of an attack and a playset of a foundation, which have maybe reskins with these characters art on them, I'd be down for that. I think that I still don't think it might be like worth $40. I mean, again, you're getting a t-shirt, but make it worth the money, because a lot of people aren't buying it for the shirt, or they're not buying it for the mat. They're buying it for the card, and especially with mechanically unique stuff, the fear of missing out. Like, what if this is actually good down the line? And they're going to want it to be worth their money. So as someone who loves to play retro, I'm absolutely down for more retro reskinned cards. Am I paying $40 for one? I did not, because I can just get non-pretty versions of some of those cards for much less, especially when one of them is a character stacker, and I'm not paying $40 per version.
So are you happy with them to stay in retro? Are you one of the people that is part of the Chris Smith movement of free the Fatal Fury bundle?
I would absolutely be down, except Mai cannot work in standard because she's a character stacker, and we don't technically do character stacking anymore.
You do realize that Kurama's still legal?
Yes, but there are no other Mai's, and I don't believe did these Mai's have the difficulty and control? I don't remember.
Even if she doesn't, the old ones do, and they would still be like count.
Yeah, but they wouldn't be in standard legal.
But
that's my point. But the other Mai's wouldn't.
You've got to think of it like the showdown ruling. So.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, that's if you three others of the old one, yeah. I suppose. But there are like 7 different Mai's in retro, so that's kind of the point of playing that Mai's. You can play all of the other Mai's and get rewarded for playing all the other Mai's.
That's fair. Kenny,
I'd love to see him in standard, but I'm here nor there.
That's fair. Kenny, how are you feeling?
Yeah, with those ones specifically, I mean, either way, it doesn't. I don't think like it doesn't seem to me like they would really break the meta if they moved into standard those specific characters, but who knows? But in general, I mean, I don't see why they couldn't just use these sorts of bundles both ways. You know, for reprinting, maybe it's something that is going to stay in retro, but it is hard to get because it's from a set that's sold out, you know, faster, isn't available as much, or it's a promo from back in the day, or yeah, this character could do well in standard maybe, and doesn't seem like it would break the game, so let's rotate it up too, you know, and yeah, there's just a lot of options using. Maybe the bundle is like, for some IPs, the bundle is 4 separate characters in a bundle rather than one each for them. Kind of, you know, something, again, it's just like little tweaking, right? Like the idea is great, the execution, it seems like they're figuring it out. I think most people probably like the playmat over the t-shirt, right? The playmat of the art on the card that you're getting, like that seems to fit more TCG player vibes, I would think. But both of them, it's like you're kind of just overpaying for that and then getting a card that isn't necessarily that valuable. So
that's fair. Totally, how are you feeling yourself?
I'm kind of like a baby for this game, low-key. So I've only played one thing of retro, and that was in Atlanta. So I'm not really sure what this character stacking or any of this stuff is, but from what Brett is saying, from what I understand, just like my off-monitor Googling, I think it's better if they don't bring these characters into standard. And I also agree with Kenny. Like I don't think they're gonna break the meta. I don't think any of them are gonna dethrone Godzilla or Hanji. But I don't think it would be smart for them to bring him back into standard, just because I feel like the whole character stacking thing is such an essential part to retro. And if you're going to bring these characters back and not bring back the characters that they stack with, like their other variants, it kind of makes them redundant.
I mean, I get where you come from, but as you are, like said, you're quite fresh. The character stacking aspect hasn't really been a thing since 2021, because it used to be if you built in older versions of characters, your character gained those abilities. And
it's kind of crazy.
It's really cool.
It was. There were retro. Like, when did you start playing?
I started playing like very late Girl Power, very early Godzilla.
But
okay, so you know how there's 7 different All Mights?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
No, what? There's 7 All Mights?
Okay, so the All Might from the All for One and All Might 2-player deck, I believe that's the most recent.
No, isn't there one? There was you're thinking of the promo one is All Might 7. Smash Might is All Might 6. But anyway, while Cameron looks for who's right there, when MHA 1 came out,
7 different All Mights.
Yeah. When MHA 1 came out, there was 3 All Mights within the first set. You had All Might 1 in the set, you had All Might 2 in the DLC, you had All Might 3 in your organized play, and you had All Might 4 True Form,
which was a quirk pack.
Which was part of your quirk packs, which were your box toppers. In the retro rules, if I had All Might 2 out and then built All Might 3, my All Might 2 would have the All Might 3 abilities. That was scrapped. That didn't happen anymore. Unless you were playing...
As well as all of the symbols that your starting character didn't have.
Yeah.
So you could stack multiple symbols as well. So you could have one character with 6 different characters worth of abilities.
It was good for hardcore chaining and stuff like that. But we can give you a retro breakdown because it gets even crazier. For me, the main issue with...
It's not getting sidetracked.
Yeah, the main issue with printing the City of Wolves promos and putting them behind collectible T-shirts, because that's what it wasn't a card and you get a T-shirt, it was a T-shirt and you get a card, was if a City of Wolves fan, because you know me, I made my content, I went out to the City of Wolves Reddits and Facebooks and I was posting everywhere. I got accused of being a bot on the Reddit of City of Wolves, by the way. That was fun.
To be honest, that doesn't surprise me at all.
But if they
it's like something you might do.
If they picked up the promos and then said, "Oh, this is cool. How can I play the game?" and they walked into the local store and you can't play that card in standard. As at the local level, that's fine. You know, they're not going to police locals. If you wanted to play Rock Howard at locals and everyone was fine with it, it'd be okay. But if one person has an issue with it, you don't get to play it, and you have that negative play experience from the side. Like, I've got this card, and I wanted to learn how to play. I wanted to get involved with the game because I've got the T-shirt, and you immediately get that kind of bad taste when you go to a local game store. That's not standard legal.
Yeah, and that's why I think that we shouldn't do like retro sticking ones, but also at that point, that's not worth the money, especially if you got it for the specific card.
Yeah, like you said with the My one, it's a case of you buy the My, it's like, cool, I have to now go find 3 more of this old character that isn't widely available, and then on top of that, build a deck around it. Yeah, for the experience bundles, I get where you're coming across, but talking about it'd be cool if it came with more cards, if the experience bundle was an experience.
And a bundle.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about
to a mat and a card?
Yeah.
How do you feel about playmats versus t-shirts? Because Fresh Cut Grass was a playmat. The Sunji Woo stuff is playmats. Playmats are going to be more appealing to gamers. So, like, I can understand Critical Role having the playmat because D&D players do use playmats. So, having a Fresh Cut Grass is really cool. I've got a friend who watches Critical Role and they pick up playmats to play with their characters. But do you think we limit our exposure by just doing playmats, or are t-shirts and other merchandise a good step forward?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, if you had the store, you pull it up, you pick the character or the bundle, whatever, however it's broken down for this set as it's coming out, right? Okay, Sungjin Woo, the cards are a lock, whatever they are, and then you could pick 1, 2, or 3 of like sleeves, playmat shirt for that character, and let people, like, you have to buy 2, or like you have to get one of those things with the cards. It's not just the cards; it's always got to be a bundle. But you could pick which one or pay more to get all of them. Like that, and you know, if it's all print on demand afterwards, it'd be pretty easy to do that. I'm not sure. I would imagine that's what they did with the Fatal Fury ones, is they printed them after the orders were in. So that's what I would go for, is like offer all 3, because yeah, I think gamers definitely, the playmats, even computer gamers, right? Like I most of my friends and I all use playmats that we got in card games for our, mouse pads as well.
Yeah.
But also sleeves. Like if you're giving people characters and with some cards with them, with the idea that they're going to build a deck around that. If this is, here's the Shadow Monarch stuff for Sungjin Woo, do you want to build a deck out of him? It's like, well, here's the sleeves that go with it. Like that seems like it'd be my choice most of the time would be for the sleeves. But that's just me.
I can see that.
Yeah,
more useful to me than a mat.
Yeah, having sleeves that kind of match it makes a lot of sense. Tonesy, how do you feel? Is there any kind of play experience bundles you'd like to see, or merchandise you'd like to see around that?
Yeah, I think sticking to like the peripherals that TCG players normally use is definitely better. I wasn't really a fan of the t-shirts because I don't think it really related to anything that I use for the game. It would be cool to see like maybe like dice. Sorry, my whole screen just cut out. It'll be cool to see more stuff like maybe like dice or sleeves or maybe like a deck box. It'll be cool to see more stuff that like TCG players can actually like use like every time they play than just like a shirt or something like that.
Yeah. So like if the Shadow Monarch bundle came with a set of dice and the dice had like the daggers for 6s and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But again,
yeah, that'd be really sick. That'd be really sick.
But again, with the print on demand kind of stuff, you have to make sure enough gets ordered to make it worth it. So it might be one of those things that rather than you pay all up front, you go, what bundle do you want? If we need this many orders to unlock that level, you'll be charged 10% up front, and you'll get whatever. But if we unlock that many orders, you'll get the whole thing, but you'll only be charged the closest maximum level.
So kind of like a Kickstarter.
Yeah, but because I can understand where Kate's coming from with these bundles, but I also know if people see a playmat bundle, a playmat and sleeves bundle, playmat t-shirt bundle, it becomes a lot more complicated for UVS and it becomes a lot more expensive for UVS. And if 100 people order the playmat but only 5 people order the t-shirts, I don't think you've crossed the point of diminishing return where making those t-shirts is worth it for how much they're probably going to make.
Unless they also started selling the leftover stuff on their website as just merch.
Yeah. Put it on the website,
That's
put it
a
on
good
the
idea, yeah.
put it on the redemption store, put it at events.
Yeah, you could sell them at events. Have your own UVS store where you could buy like these shirts. Like I have, well, I'm not wearing it now, but I have the older symbol shirts. I have an Infinity one and I have an Order one that I think they were on like TeePublic or something like that. I don't think I can get those shirts anymore, which sucks because they're really starting to fade, and I really want them with like the new symbols or with the shifted symbols. I think those would be so cool to have as just like, I wear it around. I have a Blood Omen T-shirt from the Red Horizon Blood Omen set. And I've had several people walk up to me and ask if that was a band, and when I say no, it's for a card game, they're like, "Oh, what game? That sounds awesome!" And that could be like a way that you can help, advertise.
Yeah.
So I think if they did do like T-shirts, and even if they did these T-shirt bundles and said, "Oh, we printed so many, but we didn't sell them all," well, now we can sell, maybe put the promos on the cards on redemption and sell the stores in sell the shirts in the stores. You could split the difference there.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. I just we gotta remember this isn't the biggest company in the world, it's kind of a big issue.
I think it's like 3 times the size it was when I started playing.
That's fair. Wow.
Yeah, there was like 4 people in a forklift when I started playing.
So before we get into the benefits that Experience Bundles and these alternate universe cards can have, let's draw a direct parallel and talk about, are these our version of Secret Layers? Secret Layers have been very popular in MTG. You get reskins of old cards, you get very collectible aspects of them, but they're dropping them like every single month, and they become hot topic items that sell very quickly and have led to extreme scalping of them. With, I think, the new Halloween ones were purchased very quickly, and then stores were selling them before they even arrived at, I think, a 300% markup. Are our experience bundles just going to be our versions of Secret Layers? And do you think they'll be scalped?
No.
No, probably not.
One, I'm not sure. Maybe this is a direct shot at the Magic community. I don't know if our community is that scummy, because a lot of us have played other TCGs that have had scalping problems before, and we kind of try to keep that out of our own, community. But also, I don't think these bundles, at least as they are now, are worth scalping. I don't think it's worth it.
No.
And maybe that's a good thing, that it's just, hey, they're reskins of middling power level characters, so kinda who cares? So I don't think that these would be an issue for the scalping, but I do worry that if we do a whole bunch of these, again, it's kind of like a who cares moment, and I think the only issue you run into then is if you print those characters in like a set, then you have to have like 2 different versions.
Yeah. Well, a lot of it depends on, obviously, it depends on what UVS does, what choices they make moving forward, but it depends on what version of Secret Layer are we talking about, right? Because when Secret Layer came out, it was 100% print on demand, or like print to order. It was, there was this timeline. I think it was 24 hours generally, but there's a timeline, and then everyone who ordered in that time, you got them months and months later, but you got them for sure.
Yeah.
And then they shifted over the years, partially, at least the main excuse that they use, just the main justification they use, is that people didn't want the wait time. But they've shifted to this, like, there's already an allocation. They know how many they're going to print. Maybe they already printed them. and now it's, did you use the trick to get in there before the checkout even was available so that you actually got yours, or did you wait in the queue for 3 hours and not end up being able to order anything?
Oh yeah, I
So
think I know this trick. People get into the store, and then there's entire Discord set up where people are linking like the store, like the checkout screen, to each other so they can skip the queue.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's wild.
At least last time I tried with the Final Fantasy ones, when those came out, it was just, I was there. Like the second it opened, I was there. I waited in queue for 3 hours. Everything I wanted was sold out. And then people on Reddit are all like, oh, you were supposed to go in 15 minutes before, add this other item to your cart, go to checkout, and then once it hits the timer, refresh, and you're already there. And it's just like, are you freaking kidding me? And then they don't have limits either. And so it's like, they did this on purpose because this is great for Wizards. Like for their shareholder meetings, they love being able to say every month they have this many secret layer things that's sold out, making them however much money, just like instant. And it's hopefully UVS doesn't go in that direction of making it more about it's just a profit churning thing. Let's use it as an onboarding thing. Let's use it as a way to just play with. Maybe this, this license isn't going to get a whole new set, but there's these 2 characters that we need, that sort of thing, rather than
we'll touch on the
like money churning machine.
Yeah, we'll touch on the money churning thing in a minute. That's like on my list of things to talk about. We'll come back to the onboarding after I've just got Toadsy's opinion on experience bundles.
One, I agree with y'all. I don't think it will get scalped. There's not enough return on investment. I really doubt it will get scalped. And I think someone else mentioned it, but like I come from Pokemon. Deck building for that game is rough, man. Like it's very hard to find any product nowadays. So I definitely use Universus as like my little haven from scalpers. I do like the concept of Secret Lair, how we can get reprints of staples under different arts for our game, and I really do hope Universus looks into that. But no, I don't think the Experience Bundles is our version of Secret Lair, personally.
That makes sense. So, go back to like, using it as an onboarding product. What happens when this is done? Like, we've got the City Bull stuff still on there, saying sold out. If, like you said, if this is the last solo leveling product we see, and a solo leveling player, if solo leveling fan comes and goes, oh, I want to play the Shadow Monarch, and you go, yeah, that was a limited time thing that's now in standard for 3 years, that players 6 months down the line are not going to have access to outside the secondary market. It's not a great onboarding experience that way.
True. I imagine they'll probably put them in the loyalty store if they have extras. At least the character, I would hope, because they did change the one that came in the original, just like the character and the skill tree double-sided, not the attacks necessarily, or maybe, but I would hope they would do that. Just because of people coming in later, people just not being online. There could be plenty of people that play that don't follow any of the socials and they're not on Discord, so they just don't know about this stuff until someone brings it to the store where they play.
Yeah. That's part of why I kind of post everywhere. So like I've done my job to make that fans of the IP know this stuff's coming. But quickly touching back on what you were just saying a moment ago, Kenny, the monthly secret layers and like how it's become a profit kind of churn machine, I would absolutely hate if UVS kind of went, okay, we're doing 3 sets and 3 challenges. We've listened to what you said about cutting back our products. However, every month we're going to chuck a $40 secret experience bundle at you, reprinting cards with these new IPs, and like, yeah, the amount of product you throw at us was the issue. The constant demand on our wallet was the issue.
Yeah. And there again, it comes down to, is this one character worth $40 for a new coat of paint? Something I think would be cool is kind of like latching on to what I believe Kenny said. What if instead of like, a $40 mat, and a character. Like, let's take the Shadow Monarch out of it and take the other 3 solo leveling the S-class hunters. What if you could be like, cool, I'm going to get $30 for a mat and my favorite character? Or you could do maybe $20 and you just get one of each character. So if you want the mat and you want the full experience for that character, you can get that, but you could also spend a little bit less, and it would also save on shipping, and you can get just the characters if you just really wanted that fresh coat of paint. Or we could use these as, hey, we're going to throw some new IPs in the mix, maybe some stuff that might be coming on down the road. So this is kind of like a sneak peek of what characters are going to be available, and maybe these reskins could be available on redemption later and use the experience bundles as kind of like a pre-release of sorts.
So the main issue you're going to come across there is, unlike the City of Wolves and the Fresh Cut Grass, these are not going to be on the UVS Games website. These are going to stores.
I thought they were going to be on the website.
They're going to be, everything that they sell is on the website, but distribution has put them out.
Oh, okay.
So stores are able to buy these and put them out. That's where I got all my info for these cards from. If it had just been through UVS, there was no way I was going to have this information before UVS put it out there. It's gone to distribution, so the Shadow Monarch bundles and the S-Class Hunter bundles are going to be on the UVS Games website, but they're also going to go out to stores, and that's why you can. I've already pre-ordered mine, so I get where you're going from there, but it becomes a lot more complicated for stores if rather than having the bundles. If it's just like, oh, you can get the free character cards, but they might end up with a load of playmats that they can't shift because they're gonna have to buy it all in one kind of thing. But
then what if they offered that option to stores as well, to where you could buy maybe some experience bundles with the mats and some experience bundles with no mats, so that they have stock of each?
I think it's just becoming, to put it very bluntly, unnecessarily complicated.
That describes a lot of what UVS Games does, but okay.
Yeah, but we're not UVS Games, we're UK versus it's fine. Let's go back to one of the things that I brought up at the beginning. How can UVS use this as a tool to actually bring up hype? Because I don't say like the scalping point. The S-Class Hunters are nothing special. I mean, the Bayek. Well, I actually hate having to pronounce Korean names. I'm gonna get hit. The Bayek, the wolf S-Class Hunter. His counterpart dropped 4 months ago. That's kind of nuts. I was like, this could have been a muscular character. That would have kind of still had the same aspect to it. We could have characters that are on the fringe of rotating are Cha-Hei-In. The speed and the way she uses weapons. If you slap Toga 1 text on that card with all the Attack on Titan weapons that she has access to, that thing's selling out very quickly. Reintroducing Toga 1 would be absolutely nuts. That thing's just going to sell out. I think introducing powerful characters or characters that maybe didn't get their heyday when they were in standard. So, the example I like to use is Dabi 3 is rotating soon, but so is Shigaraki 3. And Dabi 3 was always overshadowed by Shigaraki. If we got an experience bundle where we got a reskin Dabi 3, now that Shigaraki 3 isn't in the meta, it gives them more of a time to shine. There's been lots of characters that have been overshadowed by characters that use their kits better. And the experience bundle is a way to kind of highlight those cards again.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Are there any cards you guys would like to see kind of reskinned? And don't just limit it to characters. I mean, told you saying, it'd be great to see some high impact meta cards like Walk the Dog also coming under these experience bundles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Mainly all the stuff I've got focused on is characters, because that's kind of one of the things I thought we were doing today. But
No, I kind of
like you were talking about Cha-Hei.
Yeah.
I think I'm the oldest one here. There's a character called Satoshi from Red Horizon who also uses weapons. From his very first printing, he's a 7-hand size, 18 health character, but he gets to play the first enhance step of every enhance of every attack. He can stop enhances from being played on rival cards, and he can get speed. His weapons get speed for 4 minus the number of weapon cards in his card pool. So that could have been a cool reskin.
But then would that
much older card?
Would that have looked to be into like retro legacy?
Well, no, I'm saying if we brought her into, if we brought this into standard, like you were talking about bringing people who were about to rotate. I'm talking about retro characters who have already rotated and bringing a splash of some of that older magic back.
Makes sense.
Because we've already seen it with like Stain 2. His first ability is basically just a reprint of Satoshi 2. So you could absolutely do something like that to where you're taking some of these less niche style characters, like characters that don't depend on like desperation or multiple or gauge, and give them a fresh coat of paint to kind of reintroduce some of these really cool characters that didn't get to play with a lot of these cards that we have nowadays, outside of retro, which nobody plays.
That makes sense. How about yourself, Kenny? How do you feel about using these to highlight cards on game, give more access to cards, and are there any cards you like to see given that treatment?
I mean, the idea seems like a great way to do it, right? Especially if there's examples of like this character came out, and because of the meta at the time, they just basically didn't see any play. Cool. That's like the perfect example of where these things could be valuable, I think, and not turn into it doesn't lend itself towards the less money print. Like if they start doing walk the dogs and sweeping daggers and things like that in these bundles, then that's going to mean the bundles are probably costing more. And they're going to see that they're selling out better as well, which means they're going to want to do like that's kind of the feedback loop that leads to what Magic's doing is they started printing more and more valuable cards and stuff. But in terms of specific characters, I couldn't say. Like I've only been playing the game since July, so I'm I'm not even familiar with all the standard cards.
Yeah, I feel like the scalping question should have come out after this because. I don't mean to jump you before you, Tozy. I'm sure you got the same point about to put out here, but with our limited print run, that's like selling points. Having things like Walk the Dog, which is in standard for another year at least, and the boxes are very hard to come by. New players coming in do not have access to some of our most powerful cards. Being able to go, here's a $50 bundle for Cowboy Bebop where you get a Walk the Dog where Iron's being walked and it comes with a playmat and it's going to cost you.
Hell yeah.
You know what? I would buy that just for that image because that is a
hell yeah, man.
And you get a playset of Walk the Dog because and it's like cool. People are going to buy it for the art. People are going to buy it for the playmat of the art, and it gives access people to it. But the main issue is. That's where you get into your aspect of scalping, because people are going to want to have these high impact cards. What I think Kenny made a great point of is we're not really big enough to have to worry about that at the minute. But if the game grows, the amount of bad actors and nefarious people joining the game will also increase.
Now I know there's ways around this. But what if you did them through kind of like the redemption store where you could order them but still pay cash. Like I'm still saying, but because you have to log in through your account to do the reward store or something, have a way to log in with that so you can only get one bundle per account. Like obviously a lot of scalpers will like set up multiple accounts, but at least that might like
To weirdly break this up, I'm just going to quickly get Toadsy's opinion on like what the experience bundles being used to do this, and then we'll come back to that because that's a really good point. But I have got an immediate kind of counterpoint to it. So Toadsy, Are there any kind of cards you like to see come back, and how do you feel about using Experience Bundle to highlight cards that never saw their meta day, or give access to cards that people haven't, that people are going to struggle to get hold of, that meta staples?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I'm very similar to Kenny in the way that I'm still kind of like a baby for this game. I'm relatively new and fresh on the market. But I did play very lightly a while ago, and one of my friends, he played a character called Eraserhead. So I would love to see Eraserhead get reprinted on another card because Void competitively has seen such a big increase, especially with Donatello's kit and like code edits and all the negate stuff that came out recently. So I would love to see how like a maybe negate heavy Eraserhead will be played. I think the idea of just using the reskin format as a way to introduce older characters that, like Cam said, didn't get their time to shine because of the meta at the time. Uh, if we could see those characters in our current meta, I think it would be very interesting, and it would be a really good way to introduce very interesting mechanics that none of us has seen before. Again, back into the game, and I really think another thing that they can do with reskins is they can. This would also help with the scalping problem that we were talking about. They could make it where they can reskin competitive cards, but make them exclusively on the store where you need to redeem points for them. Similar to what they did with Patchwork Baby with the creepy, really creepy, realistic baby art. That card's very competitive. They didn't make it hollow. They just made it like a
Yeah.
blank, not shiny card, but they made it redeemable through the store. So then it made a very expensive competitive staple accessible to competitive players.
So, getting coming from there, yeah, it would be absolutely great. I mean, if we got like Fairy Tale next year, if we got a negation wizard experience bundle, we got a character who has the ability to kind of negate magic or something along those lines, and the erasers came in with as a new spell, but we didn't get the spell keyword on them, kind of thinking about here's your experience bundle. Could be very cool. My issue with putting things on the redemption store is one, it sucks for new players. And I know you say you can play cash, you have to log in through UGN to do it, but having to give, say, these, as Kenny says, these should be onboarding products. Someone should see a Fairy Tale experience bundle, a Cowboy Bebop experience bundle, a Soul Leveling My Hero experience bundle, and go, oh, cool. What other cards are there out there? Other things like they should see them in their stores. They should see them online. They should see us talking about them. They shouldn't have to then go and make an account and sign up for something to get access to them. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but if I see something like this and I have to then go and make an account to buy it, I get a little bit put off. Like, why do I need to log in to buy something? Why, if it's not a store, if it's like UGN going, okay, I don't care about any of this yet, you're asking me to put time and you're asking me to put my details into something and make an investment before I even know if I like it. Whereas if we go into a store and we can get that, we can build this kind of relationship with stores where we go, okay, cool, yeah, this is a play experience bundle, it's for Universes. If you want to learn how to play, our game nights are here. We've got a great community. People bring in multiple decks. They'll happily teach you how to play, and you can get down from there, because that's one of the big issues we have at the minute is getting people from collecting the cards to playing the cards. It's something I've noticed a lot with Critical Role. Critical Role, we've got a lot of critters that collect these cards, and the Fernandorian was a big wake-up call to me that we put it on the redemption store. And I had so many people like messaging me going, I want these, but I can't get them because I've not played the game yet, or I didn't know I had like the experience points, the loyalty points were even a thing. So, yeah, I don't think putting them on UGN is a great answer, but I think putting these in stores would be absolutely huge for onboarding.
Well, maybe I didn't explain it quite well. I meant if the UVS Games store had a way where you could log in with like your UGN, so you could guarantee that you're only getting one per account, but you could still pay cash for these like bundles and stuff. Because I do like that. I mean, I know that they've had a lot of issues in the past with like cards selling out, like the Moment of Normalcy promos.
Yeah.
Before they were limiting them like 2 per account. But if you had the bundles for like a Walk the Dog Cowboy Bebop bundle, and you logged into the UVS Games store using your UGN account, and it's like, okay, you can buy one of these. And that way it's one per account, so maybe they won't sell out as quickly and they'll stick around more. But also, hopefully, if they start doing it this way, they'll also make more ahead of time to try to negate some of that. So that's kind of what I was going at, because I don't think like in the store now, like if I just went to UVS Games shop, I don't think there's any way for them to limit how many of a certain item I buy, unless it's like a specific one per. And then I don't know if there's any way for them to like track that. So,
but at the same time, what can stop someone just making multiple accounts?
Laziness on my part.
They'd be eating it on shipping, but I'm sure like
like I said, there are ways around it. It's not a perfect system, but I'm just trying to think of ways that we can try to minimalize the scalping issue while maximizing the amount that more people can get to these.
Yeah, but I think
because like I didn't get any of the Moment of Normalcy promos; those sold out real quick before I could get any of them.
But I think Toti,
that's a really hard card to come by.
I think Toti's made a really good point. Like I keep coming back to it, but this could be a great solution to our limited print run, because like with TMNT, we were advertising like once they're gone. It's like cool, but if we don't touch Equipment Heist or Mega Mutant Machine, they're going to become more. They're going to become meta staples deeper and deeper into the game, and new players won't have access to them. But however, if we say put them in an experience bundle, say 6 months down the line, that would be really cool, because it gives new players another way to get it. And it encourages them to go into stores, because rather than going to like the UVS store, you go, oh, check your local game store. They might have the IP that uses equipment and has mutants in it. It'll never happen, but they say, oh yeah, go check out the X-Men 97 Experience bundle we have with the Mega Mutant Machine and the Equipment Heist.
Well, if they're well, I suppose I was about to say if they're reskinned, would they still name? But that's that's going back to characters. Obviously, we would want the same name for non-character cards, because you don't want to have 4 Massive Mutant Machine and 4 of Machine Mutant X or whatever.
Well, no, it would be a all mine situation where, as long as they're mechanically the same, they wouldn't actually be playable outside of it.
Okay, because I was like, ooh, that's about to be a bad, because I've been complaining about Massive Mutant Machine since it was previewed. We don't need to put me back on that soapbox right now.
No. But it's a fair point. Definitely indeed. I'm trying to think now. I've got so sidetracked from going from there. How do we feel about mechanically unique cards locked behind a paywall? It's something that the community has complained about a lot in the past. It's something that UVS have kind of been going back and forth saying it's not going to happen anymore, and then it might happen a couple of times, and it's like the Fern and Darwin was kind of like the floodgates breaking, because it was one of those things that if something's going to be available, it's going to be available to everyone. If something is mechanically unique, there's going to be a way to get it that doesn't involve the paywall. And the Fern and Darwin was the first time we saw something that not everybody had access to, but at the same time, everyone did, because new players coming in couldn't just throw money at someone and go at a store at the shop and go, I get the Fern and Darwin. They had to actually play the game or bought products and get those codes. And a lot of the critics I spoke to didn't realize the codes were a thing. They bought like TMNT and like oh yeah, I threw them away. It's like, oh cool. I personally not a fan of mechanically unique cards being locked behind a paywall because it's not great for new players. But I know it's something that other games do.
I think I don't like it unless the paywall is to get it sooner. Similar to how Fern and Dorian, we eventually got them on redemption, and they weren't usable until they were available for everyone else. So if they were like, hey, here's these, and that's kind of why I like the experience bundles being like the reskins, so you don't have to worry about it too much. But for mechanically unique stuff, especially new stuff, if I don't want to throw $40 to get one card, that kind of feels bad. But if I know it might be available like in a set or on redemption later, like say we do get a mechanically unique solo leveling character,
We have.
but I know in, well, you know what I mean, a different one that's not one of these other ones. But I know, oh, this is like maybe an alternate art, and we're gonna get a different art in the set. I wouldn't mind about that. If it's really cool art, I might get it, especially if it's a character I really like, but I've never seen solo leveling. But I think if there's another way to get it further down the line, I'm here or there on it, as long as you don't make it too freaking broken. But we've also seen that their R&D doesn't always talk to each other.
Yeah. I mean, you say the Fern and Dorian was available to everyone, but you had to have the points. And the big
they're
thing...
not just going to mail them out to everyone for free. There has to be some way to there has to be some skin in the game here.
Yeah.
But I think if you had the 6 months, you could then participate in events and like your locals. You can do the free play, like I think 3 times weekly to get points. There are ways to build up your points. If you say, hey, these are behind this paywall now, but in 6 months, they'll be available easier either on redemption or we'll send them to shops for events.
Yes.
Something like that.
That's what I was going to bring up is there's a play experience bundle I forgot about. I think we all forgot about. And it's funny because the card is literally staring at me here, and it just reminded me that Fresh Cut Grass and Anya Forger went out to stores, and it wasn't just a case of you could buy it online, but then they went out as stores. Here's what you got, and you can do with them what you want. It's like two went out. It's like, okay, that's cool, but the issue with the putting on the redemption is with the new redemption store. People come on and go, okay, I've got a week to get these. Can I get 480 points in a week? I mean, yes, if you go and buy a case of something, you could do it. But there's no physical way to earn enough points in a single week to buy one promo in reasonably. If you live in an area, say, like Nicholas Reagan, who has 10 stores within driving distance, yeah, maybe you can do it.
Nice.
But
I'd be
if
able to go to Worlds if I could do that.
But if you live in, say, so anywhere in the UK, the majority of people are only going to one locals a week, and I don't think the majority of people are even taking advantage of the local play aspect. So the maximum points you can get in a week is reasonably 80 points. You're still 40 points short. So the critters come in, they go, okay, I'm going to go take part in locals, I'm going to go do this. And then it's a case of, oh, they've gone for the redemption store. When are they coming back? It's like, we don't know. It's like, cool. It goes from something you're playing to have fun into becoming a grind so you don't miss out the next time. And to me, that is taking an aspect of fun away from it.
What if, and I know this is kind of segueing into like the loyalty redemption store, what if instead of telling us the day that the weekly things change, like, hey, here's an article at 1 that's going to tell you everything that's going to be new for this week, what if they mapped it out for a month and said, hey, next month, these are the things we're going to do for each week, so you can kind of plan out how you need your points. And then you could grind if you needed to.
Before we get into that, we've been neglecting our guests. And we've been talking about a lot
you're getting me fired up.
Yeah. We've been talking about a lot of stuff, so let's get into with Toadsy and Kenny. about how they feel about mechanically unique cards locked behind a paywall and how they think that affects the new player experience. We'll start off with Tozy because Kenny has been jumping in there as well.
I'm kind of on the fence about it. I think it's really cool that because as someone that plays extremely competitively, I think it's cool that the reward store is getting more stuff that's exclusive, because I feel like it makes players feel seen. From my experience, that like, oh well, I worked so hard to get all my points and all like grinding all my points and like running games, but now it pays off because I get this exclusive card. But I can also see the point where like collectors have a hard time getting these exclusive promos that you can only get via points, and you can't just like throw your money at UVS, be like, hey, give me these cards. But then you can also make the argument that can't they just get these promos from local card shops and TCG Player that way?
I mean, the secondary market isn't something we can really take into account because it takes into people having the actual ones to sell, and the product is limited. But yeah, I get where you're coming from with that. Kenny, how about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like every card is behind a paywall to some degree, right? Like but unless you're playing a demo deck, right? Like you either had to buy the challenger, you had to buy boxes and open them, you had to buy the singles online from or in person from somebody. So having them go, in the shop in a sense doesn't seem all that different. But it's a matter of degree, right? It's a matter like if it's one thing here and there and it's not game breaking, like it's not like a top tier thing, then it is going to be much less of a big deal versus like if they drop a card that suddenly the next 3 regionals, there's 4 copies of it in the top 16 and nobody could get it unless they ordered it back then. That's a bit more of an issue.
Yeah.
So I don't really have a strong feeling one way or the other. It's just all about like how it's done specifically, and if they're going to come up with a rule of we do this or we don't do this or this is how we do it, and then stick with it, whatever that is.
Oh, Tozy just dropped a very good point there. We had Nicholas Reagan drop after Worlds. They were on the Points Redemption store, but then we also got told that everything we purchased from March until August was not redeemable. We got no points for 5 months, which meant a new player coming in wouldn't have access to Nick Reagan, one of the premier characters of the meta following from March, unless they took part in at least 2 locals, and then also had to wait for him to be on the store. So you're getting beat down by this character going, I wish I could play it, but I don't have access to it.
Man, he was so broken.
Not to be the counterpoint person, but I don't think a new player is picking up Nick Reagan and doing anything with it.
You'd be
just from the complexity stance of the character. That character was made from an old head with retro in mind. Like he loves tech sphere and stuff like that. So I don't think a new player is necessarily going to go, oh, this is the new hotness, and have any sort of a good time with it, unless they're already grinding for a lot of those big cards. And at that point, they're probably gonna be able to get this card just fine because they are putting the money and they are putting the effort into it.
A brand new player may not, but a lot of the skills are transferable. We've got Kenny from Magic, we've got Tozy from Pokemon, we've got people coming over from Yu-Gi-Oh! And Digimon and other games, and a lot of the skills you display in those games is transferable. So coming in going, I like my control decks, I get to pop off with a little bit of RNG and go, yeah, Nick Reagan is could really appeal to them.
Yeah, that's true.
Not all new players are made the same.
This is also true, but you just keep saying like a brand new player coming in.
Yeah, as someone,
we're focusing on the people who don't own any cards. They're gonna have to pay for cards anyway.
Yeah,
like Kenny was saying.
But that's what I'm saying. But if people, a brand new player, so not someone who's brand new to card games, but someone who's brand new to our game, coming in March, has no points, has no access to points until they're playing and grinding already, which means we're asking for a time commitment from them, and every product they purchase does not count towards points because there's no redemption for Critical Role Heroes of Alexandria or the Street Fighter stuff, and there's no codes in there either. And for Attack on Titan.
I did think that was mishandled.
How about you, Kenny? How are you feeling about the now that I brought up the kind of like the gap in redemption points?
Yeah, I mean that's I when I came in was a little after that, but everything I bought for the first month and a half or whatever was, I saw the redemption things on them, and I had seen the article, but I hadn't noticed. Oh, that stopped at the beginning of the year, unless you're at a regional, and that was part of why I went to the regionals I went to, because I'm like, well, I have like 900 wrappers right now. Like, I probably need to go take these in and turn them into something, especially because I've spent a lot of time in Oregon over the last few months, and there's no card shops here that run Universus. There's like dozens of card shops in Portland, but they all have just stacked schedules of a whole bunch of different games, and this one, for whatever reason, just hadn't really stuck with one of them. So all of my points that I've earned so far have been from the 2 regionals I went to and turning in points, wrappers there, or the TMNT product that I got. Like, there is no way for me to get points without flying to another state. And that's the same case if you're up in Seattle. Like, it's crazy. It's bad in some other countries, but even in the U.S. where the game is based, like, there's a lot of the U.S. where there's no shops. Denver is like 5 million people or something. The closest UGN store is in Pueblo, like 5 hours south of there.
Well, remind me to get you back on when the new OP announcement comes in and we talk about organized play for the year, because I'm in a similar situation to you. In the southwest of England, there's nothing within 2.5 hours of where I am. And even then, like, one of them's in a pub and the other one is...
That's dope.
Yeah. I have to drive, so it's not really. But it gets very noisy.
Well, no, but there is a card called Bar Fight, I'm just saying.
Yeah. And then the other one's basically a case of... There was one... the store near me has a similar issue to what you're going for, Kenny. I went in there and I found out they play after they've closed. So I was like, okay, do you guys support Universus? And the guy just went, no. Deadpan, not even interested in it. It's like, if it's not part of the big 3, we're not doing it. Lorcana died, Dragon Ball died, Digimon died. We've had no interest in Riftbound here, which is shocking to me. And then I was like, are you interested in demo? Are you interested in, like, really? No, if it's not part of the big 3, we're not going to support it. It's just a money pit. It's like, okay, cool, yeah. Totally, how you
like an issue that we've been having as a game over the years.
But we'll get into that when when the OP announcement drops. We can get into organized play and what Universus should be doing with stores rather than focusing on competitive play. But that's for a different time. But I've got very strong opinions on this, and they're the same opinions I've had for like 3 years. But let's not neglect Toti. How are you feeling about the redemption store aspect after I pointed out we had 5 months with no redemption?
Yeah, I like agree 100%. I thought the redemption of products thing was handled very poorly. I kind of just agree with everything y'all say, honestly. I think the redemption of product was poorly because not everyone has the privilege of like having a very bustling community like where I am, because I'm in Texas, right? So we have like pods of like very big communities here. So it's very easy to like, okay, I'll go to a local on Friday at Combat Power. Okay, I'll drive 2 hours with my friends to McAllen to like do another like store championship. It's very accessible for us, but whenever you put it in perspective of saying how like some people only get one local a week, or some people don't get locals a week and they only get packs to like get points, I can see how honestly messed up the way they handled the the reward store and the product redemption was at the start of this year.
Yeah, I'm really gutted my interview with Combat Power got corrupted because you guys in Texas have it so cool. You've got Crunchyroll just up the road, and Combat Power showed me their folder with all their signed cards from VAs. You've got, I think it's 3 stores, including Combat Power, that play regularly, one of which holds regular retro events.
Yeah.
Wait, where in Texas is this?
San Antonio.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
I said retro in towns is perked up.
Well, I'm from Oklahoma. I'm right north of Texas, but San Antonio is at like the ass end of Texas, way down.
Right in the middle. Right in the middle.
Yeah, no. If Dallas is 3 hours from me, I'm not driving to San Antonio. Sorry.
That's fair. That's fair.
I made that drive once, and I'm not planning on doing it for a very long time.
It's a brutal road, yeah.
It is, especially going through Texas highways under construction. You guys don't know how to maintain your highways.
Oh, yeah. I know that for a fact.
But
You have to drive through 4 small towns to avoid 1 wreck. I don't want to drive in that state.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great point to come from, Tozy, because Cam's got a regular local scene that he's been building and helping people learn. Yourself, you've got a fair amount of locals, and then you've got Kenny and myself who get to play online sometimes. Because, I would love to have a local scene here, and I know there's some critters about an hour away from me that are trying to get their store involved because of the Jester and Ford stuff. But
they should have a world famous YouTuber show up at that store and help promote.
I mean, my status as Dabby guy was not getting stores involved when I was actually still good at the game. I'm a washed up never.
You're the bot from the Critical Role Reddits.
No, the City of Wolves Reddits, the Critical Role Reddits hate me for a whole other slew of reasons. I had a whole... someone in the official Critical Role Discord must really hate me because we had like a full-on 10-minute discussion of me not understanding how their spoiler system works.
This is why I just stick to YouTube.
But I digress. I think that you guys have kind of hit it on the head with the experience bundles. I think they're a good thing if they are used correctly. If they're used as a cash grab, if they're used as a way to kind of reskin stuff we've already got in standard with popular IPs, they're not destined to work. But if they're used to highlight cards that never got to have their heyday, if they're done to faithfully adapt IPs the way that they do for like the sets, there's a lot of potential in here. But do you think there's any other kind of products, any other kind of things that we may see coming from them are like similar to this? Because next year we're getting 3 sets and 3 challenges. That's a very low yield compared to what we've had in the past.
I could definitely see more experience bundles. Again, hopefully with some changes, like some older characters that could be reprinted from retro if they're faithful adaptations. Like, I've actually got a couple pulled up and, like, I don't know. I kind of misunderstood what we were talking about when me and Brett were thinking of this episode, and I thought we were going to play the game of, here's a character. What kind of character would you like to have a skin slapped on this?
Yeah.
So I had a whole bunch of that and it turns out
you didn't misunderstand it. You didn't misunderstand it. That's what I told you we were doing 2 weeks ago. I decided last week.
I've been thinking about this for 2 weeks.
I decided on Friday to go, rather than just talking about characters that could work with new skins, I want to talk about the actual alternate universes and play bundles. I mean, we still can do that, but our guests haven't had as much time as you to kind of think that through. But
that's the fun of it. I give our guests the character and be like, hey, this is what the character does. You can pull it up on UVS Ultra. what character do you think would fit from an existing IP or an IP that you'd like to see in the game?
Are you guys down for that?
Yeah.
I mean, we've been bitching for about an hour. We might as well end on a high note.
Yeah. Well, so as we wind down, then, have you got, and before we do that, then, any final thoughts about the alternate universes and experience bundles you want to get out there that we haven't touched on?
I have some. I think it can be done very well. I think it's a good way to reskin stuff. I think it's a good way to reskin things that are hard to access for everyone. For example, when I was a new player, I love Godzilla. I still don't have any walk the dogs. So I feel like for a new player that might want to play decks that like are competitive, maybe the experience like onboarding bundles could be a way for them to get cards for the character. I think it can be done well. I think they need to be a little careful about how they do it, because even with a small community, I can still see people scalping stuff if it is like nuts. That's like another thing. But yeah, that's like my whole thought process on that.
No, I mean, Kenny had the great point of we're a small community, we're a good community, so scalping may not be as much of an issue, but the temptation's got to be there. With like they said, if we got a Cowboy Bebop Walk the Dog experience bundle, the temptation's just
You anyway because it's adorable.
the temptations for someone to buy them all out, knowing that Walk the Dog's still got a year in standard, would be out there, and because it's what a 60, what is it, a $40 or $60 card at the minute.
It's like a $40 card, yeah.
Yeah, if you sell a playset, if you RRP a playset at $50, there's nothing stopping a store going, well, actually, a playset goes for $60 on TCG Player. I could probably easily get 70 or 80 from this if a player really needs them.
Yeah, but at that point, it is just kind of hard to monitor on a case-by-case basis of who's going to be scummy and who's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, and if the alternative is, I scored a cheap case of Dark Tournament on eBay a month and a half ago. I cracked the whole case. I got 2 Walk the Dogs. So if that's the alternative, is that people have to spend hundreds of dollars to get 1 or 2, that aren't on the secondary market. It's like that's partially why the prices are as high as they are, is because they're so hard to get.
But it's because the product's sold out at manufacturing, so what's out in the wild is what's left. And same with TMNT, same with supply. Once it's gone from the distribution warehouse, that's it. Critical Role is like on there. The Godzilla challenges have sold out. The Dark Hero and Attack on Titan ones have sold out. So if you want to get a hold of a alt-art Dark Hero Deku, you either need to find it in stores or on the secondary market. You're not going to be able to get it from UVS directly, but it's going to get a stronger meta character if it doesn't get touched. So if we saw a reskin of it, it would make sense. But yeah, I'm not saying to do that, but I do not need more Dark Deku.
No.
But like Godzilla could be really cool. And like I said, Godzilla is a meta-relevant character. I know from personal experience talking to people in Europe, the challenges are really hard to get out down there. And if you just did a Godzilla experience bundle, just slapped on, say, one of the movie poster skins like was in the regionals, and you did, say, a 1950s Godzilla with some 1950s city rampages on as part of an experience bundle, those would probably still sell to collectors and players alike. Also, I'm starting to worry how many ideas I'm putting out there that UVS can now not use.
They could use it. They could just credit you in very small print at the bottom.
Very small print is crazy.
At some point, I'm going to have to put a thing up there going, I have in no way influenced UVS's decisions. Apparently, I'm just very good at predicting what they're going to do. But
I mean, you are the tinfoil hat YouTuber.
I am the tinfoil hat YouTuber. Cameron, send me these characters so I can put them on stream, and then we'll talk about what kind of alternate universe characters we could see going.
Let me open up Discord again. Hopefully it doesn't need another 18 updates. All right, I'll drop these two. I have 3 right up front that I wanted to kind of pop off with, at least for a start, so we can get rolling. And I actually have characters that I think would make really cool reskins for these. So if our lovely esteemed guests would like to open UVS Ultra, so you can follow along.
Yeah, all UGN, all UGN deck builder, all Universus.
Is Retro on UVN?
Hopefully.
I didn't know Retro was on the UGN.
Hopefully. If not, there's also Universus.cards. So there's many places you can go to look at to do deck building.
Yeah.
The doubles would have got me if it wasn't equal.
My apologies to the Daubers.
Why isn't the last one should just be Sunjin Woo?
I've got something for the last one. All right, hold up.
I mean,
right, so
you just keep the same name, Woo. Hold on. The first one apparently did not want to show up anywhere. Oh, okay.
Let me try it again.
No. It was on my side.
Oh,
okay, so we have
our guests ready.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
So if Brett got these in the correct order,
I'm just
the
going to
first
do one at a time.
character. Yeah. First character is called Elizabeth. She is from the King of Fighters Rulers of Time set, which was a very long time ago. The only reason I own one is because I was able to get some packs at Nationals and I pulled her. But she's got first form, spend 1 momentum, add 1 card from your discard pile to your hand. Pretty cool. But she's mainly here for the response where you commit her after you play an attack not as a block. Your rival mills 8 cards from their deck.
I do think Rulers of Time boxes are still available at Rochester CCG as well.
They are, and I picked one up with some credit that I had at another event. So, but in that box, I didn't get her, but I traded in some prize ball tickets for like 3 packs, and I got her out of my last pack. It was amazing.
See, you guys are quite new. Characters used to be a lot harder to pull before they started putting them in every single pack.
Yeah, she is an ultra rare character.
A UR character?
She's a UR character, and they did not give you a character in every pack.
Yeah. It's not like the Attack on Titan UR where you're like, oh, you're gonna see what are like a couple of them in every
one per
This took up one of your UR spots.
Yeah. Because characters had different rarities back then, and you did not get a character per pack. So I think I opened a full box of Cowboy Bebop. That's not my dog. But I opened a whole box of Cowboy Bebop, 24 packs, I got 6 characters. That's how hard it used to be to get characters in this game. And that's why putting a character in every pack is something I will always applaud UVS for. So when I look at Elizabeth, I see a character that can take away your rival's future and like mess with time. How familiar are you guys with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure?
Bro, I was literally about to say Dio. Oh my goodness.
Well, I was gonna say Diavolo with his King Crimson, who can skip forward in time. So it's kind of like you skipped past those dangers in their deck because he can skip past like moments of fate and stuff like that. So that would make a really cool reprint for a character like this. What do you guys think?
I think that's a good one.
Yeah. Kenny, have you got one while I just quickly double check?
Yeah, the character that came to mind for me was Hit from Dragon Ball Super.
Hit from Dragon Ball Super could also
power. Yeah, that feels like his whole because it's like
the time skip.
Being a step. Yeah, it feels perfect for that.
But see, this is how I think we could use some fun reskins. Like if we were gonna get like a Golden Wind set from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, give me a reskinned Elizabeth for Diavolo. And even if you just make it like a promo that even can't be used competitively, just like a collectible thing, Or maybe his other character will do something similar to this. This could be a way to introduce some of these characters with existing cards and give these existing cards a chance to shine again.
See, my head went in.
So did you?
I did think of like Dio and the World Stand, but my head immediately thinking of this like using momentum to use past attacks or making your opponents skip their future, what they're going to draw. I went to King Julius from Black Clover, the Chrono Wizard.
Still need to watch Black Clover.
So basically, he has an unlimited grimoire because he uses time magic, and like so he can basically manipulate time. So that's what I'm seeing. Like we've all kind of gone down the same line of manipulating time, but being able to like skip your opponent's future or reuse attacks that you've used in the past goes down that kind of line. So it's very cool that we all kind of went down this time aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, the main guy from Prince of Persia would be perfect for this with the dagger that does exactly that.
That'd be pretty cool. I hated that game as a kid.
I only ever had the demo on the disc that came in Game Informer back in the day.
Like I tried to play it, I think it was on GameCube, and I tried to play it, and I just sucked.
Sorry.
But the next character I have in our trio
Since you
lineup.
just quickly brought up Prince of Persia, what's the kid's name from ReZero?
Oh,
Subaru?
Subaru? Yeah. I can see that being a character with like the whole like rewind on death archetype or whatever.
Yeah, so rewinding to attacks that didn't get rewinding attacks that maybe didn't hit the mark last time, and also like it fits in going. Okay, I know what your Subaru's like. I know what your next card's going to be, so I'm going to make you skip them. Going
I
time.
can see that.
That's
Are we ready for
sell so much?
Oh,
are we ready for character number 2?
Toadie, we could sit here for a good. We could do a whole another 2 hours on me talking as to why a Zekai Quartet would immediately sell out and why it would be the best set we ever had.
So before we get Brett back on his soapbox, so the next character in line should be Roy. And this is an old Red Horizon promo character. He's got a static that says when a player would ready foundations during their ready step, they choose and ready only half of those foundations rounded up instead. So if you've got 4 foundations that you would ready, you can only ready 2. As an enhance, he can once per turn commit 1 foundation. Your punch attack gains stun 3, and you may change its zone to any other. And when I saw this character, I thought, he obviously, if you can see him, it's Roy 2 Dot, I should say.
Yeah.
Because he's got the 2 dots on his name. But he's got a boxer stance, so I'm thinking of a heavy hitter. I'm a huge fan of History's Mightiest Disciple Kenichi, and I see Iki Takeda in this character, who is a high school champion boxer. And one of his skills is he can just hit you right in like a good pressure point to stun you and knock you down. So someone who's got that kind of stun blow energy that can hit you in those pressure points to kind of stagger you and keep you on the defensive, while giving you less materials to work with on your turn, less ways to fight back. So what kind of characters would you guys see as this kind of brawling bruiser boxer archetype?
I'm gonna need a second to think on this one.
Well, if you guys
the one that came to mind was like, go ahead.
If you guys are having to think of it while you're having a quick think, I've immediately thought of 3 characters this would work with. That might be one of which is one I asked at the first summit if we were ever going to get. One that falls in line with that character. But let's go along with the JoJo's line of this. And I think Joseph Joestar, we're going to go to the one that you think will be better. Because you've got this only being able to ready up half your foundations, limiting what your opponents can do, which fell into how Joseph, in the first his first appearance, in JoJo's kind of went down. Like, I manipulate your opponent to only be able to do certain things. But that bottom enhance, where you just go, cool, my attack gets still free, I can change the zone. It just gets to fall in line with that whole I know what your next line's going to be. So it's like, I know where your next attack's going to go because I can change its zone.
I can see that kind of.
Other than that,
It does change your punch attack.
Criminal Foundation, your punch attack gets done for you may change. So okay, so it's only your attack. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, so it's more of like a pinpointing your rival's weakness kind of thing.
Yeah, I thought it was two separate abilities. You may change the zone attacks, and if it's yours, it gets done free. Other than that, I think this would be kind of following the lines. The strategists, the kind of big thinkers, like Yagami or Anakoji from Classroom of the Elite, would be a great one to go down with this.
For me, after thinking about it for a bit, I feel like this card is like perfect for a character named Aoi Todo from Jujutsu Kaisen.
Make it clap.
Yeah, exactly. And not only that, like he's not only like a big, like super muscular brute that can like obviously throw humongous punches, but he's also like very smart. And I think that ties in with
ability. He can pinpoint your weaknesses pretty quickly.
Exactly. And that's like his whole thing. Like he punches you really hard into like your critical spots. And I think that like fits the second enhance like perfectly. It's also a once per turn, which is cool because he can't use his powers infinitely. There's like a gauge to them. And I think it just fits really, 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 really well.
And it would fit with the Black Flash. The whole Black Flash mechanic of Jujutsu Kaisen. Of hitting at that critical time moment.
Oh, yeah.
How about yourself, Kenny?
I mean, I'm looking at, like, reading them, the things that came to mind for me were almost like characters that have like an elastic thing going on, like any number of comic book characters are like Dalsim almost. Like if you had some ability of like stretching, or that would explain like being able to lock them down over here and then punch from over here and stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then just the pressure point side being like the thing that came to mind the most. I haven't played nearly as many fighting games or watched many animes. So I was thinking of the evil leopard guy from Kung Fu Panda. That comes in. That's like his whole thing is like.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah,
that'd be hilarious. Actually, a Kung Fu Panda set.
Right? I feel like I hadn't thought of it before. Even all the time I spend over in IP Dreams on the Discord, and as soon as I thought of that guy, I was like, oh yeah, Kung Fu Panda would be great for this. Bring the youngins in.
Wouldn't mind buying a set for that. Not gonna lie.
Oh, imagine what the
I mean,
the villain from Kung Fu Panda 3, what his abilities would be. The bison or the water buffalo.
Oh,
It was all spiritual attacks and shit.
It'd just be Quan Chi.
No. We're not doing that. We're not going down that road again. I've been down that road twice. They banned that man twice.
3 times, because we got Toga 4. Who is Quan Chi Light?
No, she's Quan Chi at home and she doesn't count.
That's only because they got rid of characters.
Quan
So
Chi at home.
We banned Quan Chi twice.
So Quan Chi got errated
with an errata, and we banned the errata.
So Quan Chi got printed, Quan Chi got errated, Quan Chi got banned. Quan Chi 2 came out, Quan Chi 2 got errated, Quan Chi 2 got banned.
That character was busted. When you can throw 4 attacks for like over 40 damage and your rival takes maybe 2, screw it.
Wow.
That character was dumb. All right, are we on to character 3? Are we ready?
Give me 1 second so I can just transfer it all over, and then we should be.
All right.
Because OBS is going a bit slow.
All right, so let me know when you're ready, Brett.
Yeah, so Shadow Man is the last one.
Shadow Man. So this is a Mega Man character. I absolutely adore him. He's got 2 responses. The first is once per turn, after you play a flash attack, you may add 1 other flash attack from your card pool to your momentum. And then his other response is spend 1 momentum after an attack is played. Your rival sacrifices 1 of their foundations, and if the foundation's difficulty was 1 or less, the attack you played gets 3 damage. So it's kind of cool. You can stack those abilities to where you play a flash attack, you play another flash attack, add the card to your momentum, spend that momentum immediately, blow up 1 of your rival's foundations, possibly get damage. I'm thinking characters that move fast. I'm thinking of characters that hit hard. I'm thinking of Zenitsu Agatsuma from Demon Slayer, the sleeping idiot that screams a lot. I hate this character as a character, but I think Flashman would be an amazing reskin for if we got Demon Slayer.
Someone's not seen the movie.
Yes, I have. Well, not the new one.
Yeah.
I was.
If you're still referring to Zenitsu as the screaming, crying, sleeping guy, you've not seen the movie.
No,
Nah,
I know
he's
that
goated.
he's having an awakening, but I have not had a chance to get to a theater in like 3 or 4 weeks because I've been very, very busy in my personal life.
I mean, it's interesting calling his depressed arc an awakening, but sure.
As long as he stops screaming at the top of his lungs at everything, I'm fine.
But anyway, Kenny, Toadsie, any thoughts on Shadow Man?
I'm trying to think, but like, is Zenitsu's kind of like with the whole Flash thing, like the thunderclap and Flash? It's just like the perfect character, man. I really can't think of anybody else besides like maybe Zenitsu. Yeah, like it's kind of just like the perfect like picture perfect pick. I'm not gonna lie.
Are we forgetting that Tengen is the flashiest person in that show?
Yeah,
but he doesn't have
stuff
like
with,
the thunderclap
sound.
flash. Like Zenitsu's whole thing is he passes out and he does that one little blink cut that no one can see, so it kind of works with Flash, Shadow Man, speed, all of that jazz.
I feel like if Tengen was in this game, he wouldn't be like a Flash character. He'd be like an Echo character or something.
Yeah, he would want something that you could have some flashy mechanic to work with, not just flash attacks that don't have a lot of pizzazz to them.
I'm actually going to need to think on this one, but Tengen just came to mind because we keep saying the word flash, and that's just his thing.
Well, in Japanese he says flamboyant, so take that what you will. What about you, Kenny? You got anything?
I mean, not really. Like lots of characters that are just really fast, but not any that jump out as like this would be the perfect. I mean, like Goku almost, like a Kaioken Goku, or Ultra Instinct, or so many of their fight scenes are just them throwing like insane. Obviously those are flash attacks. They're not putting anything special behind them. But yeah, this one doesn't have anybody who really jumps at me as much.
Okay, this is going to be one for the older people in the audience, and Kenny's definitely not going to get this one. Killua, Hunter x Hunter.
Ooh, I could see Killua. I could see that.
So Killua is a assassin that's been trained since birth to kill, and they have electric powers, so they're able to move very quickly. And I'm explaining this for Kenny and the audience. And in one of their fights against prisoners, he literally just walks up to them, and as he walks past, rips their heart out, still in the clothing, and is just carrying this blood-soaked pouch of fabric that contains their heart as they fall to the ground. And I was like, that is
top 10 badass anime moment.
But that
was ridiculous.
That's like 12, by the way. He's like a little kid.
Yeah.
But that to me is the kind of thing of, that's what I think of a flash attack. Your opponent is just not able to counteract it. And because of the lightning and the speed, being able to go from a flash attack into another flash attack to put momentum to get more damage is that kind of assassin thing of, my first attack didn't get through. Here's my next attack. It's going to come out just as fast, but I'm going to utilize the momentum of my last attack to make sure this one comes in hitting harder.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Yeah, I didn't even think about Killua. It's been a long time since I've seen Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah, but this comes back to what we were saying like last week. These are IPs that we would love to see, but they're probably not healthy for the game.
Okay, I think you and I have a different variation on that. I do agree that a lot of younger kids might not know Hunter x Hunter, but I mean that didn't stop Union Arena, and they're still making money.
Hunter x Hunter is actually like humongous for my generation. I'm not gonna lie.
Which generation's yours?
I'm Gen Z.
There you go.
Okay,
Like,
so you're a little younger than I am.
Yeah.
We love Hunter x Hunter.
As long as we don't get any Chimera ants, because
No, but then we have to print Hisoka, and we have to deal with Hisoka.
Yes, I want a full alternate art Hisoka just so I can have it to annoy my wife.
Why? Hisoka is such a problematic character.
My wife hates Hisoka, and
Quite
so much so
rightly.
that when I bought her a plush at a convention that she wanted, and I had a Hisoka cosplayer give it to her as a gift.
So
Just to bother her.
just to explain to Kenny and the audience, Hisoka is a very problematic character. There's scenes in the manga and the anime where he's just staring at these kids from behind and it really focusing on their butts. And he just toys and abuses these children and makes very over-sexualized noises about them because he wants them to become strong enough for him to kill them.
Hisoka is fight sexual. He is turned on by fighting, and the stronger the opponent, the more aroused he gets. I do agree that a lot of his opponents being younger kids is very problematic, because that's why my wife hates Hisoka. The first time she saw any Hunter x Hunter was the Hisoka versus Gon fight in the Tower episodes. She's like, she walked in from work. She's like, "Are you watching porn?" I'm like, "No, I'm watching anime," which at that point was kind of not too far off. But
not that I thought I'd have to say this on this channel, but Universus does not support being aroused in any way, combat or not, at young children.
I agree. That part of his personality is problematic, but those are not the only characters he gets fight sexual with.
No.
Yeah.
Like,
if you have to defend it, it's probably not a good thing.
Yeah,
that's
man.
True.
See, like Kurapika, my goat, very unproblematic.
Kurapika
man brought a shovel to a fight because he knew he was going to bury the man.
But it's valid.
Okay, let's just quickly, Cam, 1 second, let's quickly just go in there. They, them, not he or she, for Kurapika, please. Let's get that very out there.
Oh, yes.
They, them.
Because they, them?
The anime messed that up in the manga, I believe. They've never used gendered pronouns. It's a highly contested thing in like the fans of Hunter x Hunter. That
I will say I've only seen the English dub.
Yeah,
that's all I've
seen. That's
seen.
pretty cool. I guess that explains why they look so androgynous.
Yeah, it's also why like when you see if they ever have to take the shirt off, they keep something on or they have a binding on. It's a whole thing. But yeah, Kurapika we use they them for them because
okay, I did not know that.
Yeah. But no, Kurapika is absolutely amazing, and I think a Kurapika card with that kind of specialist aspect would be one of those kind of would have to essentially kind of be a skill tree thing, but instead of going up in levels, you just chose an effect to have for that turn.
I could see something kind of like that, or I could even just see skill tree. You're unlocking your specialist paths, so it's kind of like a level up, but you're just gaining more access to more of your abilities.
Yeah.
I have another.
Go on.
Oh, go ahead.
Kurapika has self-healing. Kurapika has the ability to detect truth and facts. It's just one. He's very overpowered to the point where it came up on some anime podcasts. Kurapika is the protagonist of Hunter x Hunter now because they were so cool. They overshadowed Gon. So when Gon lost their abilities, Kurapika took over as the MC, which is really cool. But this isn't Hunter x Hunter. I could get into this. And these are things I could talk about for absolute days. One of the things that myself and Sam Tate talked about during the warm-up to Bake Off was Experience Bundles highlighting these nostalgia kind of things and reprinting some things like Cowboy Bebop cards like the ship and all stuff like that, using things like Outlaw Star or Firefly. Which is really cool.
That could actually work. As long as we can get a hold of the IPs. But yeah.
I mean, the Outlaw Star IP has been overshadowed by Cowboy Bebop for about 20 years. Over 20 years. It can't be going for much. But you've got one more.
Yeah, I got another one because this was the only
Yeah.
other one that, without doing more deep dive.
Quickly, just before you start, because I'm a massive Outlaw Star fan, Santated, so is Lenoco. Outlaw Star was published as a manga in 1998, early 90s, and it was about 3 months later that Cowboy Bebop got published. So it's a really awkward one. But anyway, talk us through Benimaru.
Yeah, Benimaru is the last one that we've got. It is another King of Fighters character. He is... Oh, hold on. My thing refreshed. Scroll down.
It's enhance. Your attack gets stun 1 or +1 to its stun rating for the rest of the turn. Your choice. I like how they had to put that in there. And E, commit. If your attack deals damage, your next control check to play an attack gets +X. X equals this attack's stun rating.
Yep, so this is another stun-based character, but in a lot of his attacks, he's shown using some sort of like electricity ability, like some sort of I don't know if he can generate it or what have you. But I've got 2 characters in mind for this. I'm a huge fan of the Get Backers anime. I don't know if anyone here knows what that is. If not, go watch it if you can. It's amazing. But there's the main character Ginji, who has electric-based powers. They call him like the human electric eel. He's adorable and hilarious, so that could work. Or for my One Piece fans, Carrot from the Zone arc. What are they called? The Mink people. All of the Minks have this electricity power, so that could be a really cool way to kind of add that in as like a reskin of this electric wielding stun Benimaru type character.
Match, you went for that one and not, is it Emiru? The like literal electric god?
Enel, I'd do something different for him because I don't know. As a thunder god, I'd say more like Raiden from Mortal Kombat.
That was my pick. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a little bit better. Because Raiden had some nuts abilities.
I feel like if I was to make this card anything, it'll probably be like specifically Mortal Kombat X Raiden, with like because this character focuses on stun, and I just feel like as someone that played the game against my friends, oh man, that character was so annoying, man. So just I feel like this would be like Raiden if he ever got a card.
He did in the Mortal Kombat X series. We did have a Mortal Kombat X set, and Raiden was a premier piece of that.
Yeah, I fought someone playing him at the regional. It was kind of rough. He had a foundation that said like you can't wipe my board, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, Raiden, old school Raiden was tricky to play as, but if you could get him off the ground, he was bloody fun.
How about yourself, Kenny? Any reskin ideas for Benimaru?
Two that come to mind. One is, on that potential realm that we've got anyways with the Riftbound connection, Morgana. Like the idea of just stacking stuns into stuns into stun, like nobody CCs like Morgana does. And then also that plus like the lightning side, I'm thinking it definitely not going to happen because of the cost on that one. But Emperor Palpatine. Shoots lightning, and then whenever they get hit by it, it's like, it freezes them up.
Yeah, I mean, see that.
We could definitely see this as maybe a reprint for Laxus in Fairy Tail, the Thunder Dragon.
Oh man, I love Laxus.
But
do some research before Fairy Tail.
If we're talking outside of like the IPs we know coming, I'm gonna pander to the Gen Z in the call. Jin Mori from The God of High School, or Bam from Tower of God. Because although
I can see that.
Although you're pointing it to electricity, for me, I see this as more as you're gaining an ability or you're enhancing the abilities you're already doing on your attacks. And then you're going, if this hits you, my next one's going to be coming in for free. And Bam and Jin have this kind of stringy, controlling aspects, but they're also very good at enhancing what they're already doing. and taking their attacks and pushing them further, making them very hard to deal with. And I think rather than focusing on the electricity side of it, focusing on that, making my attacks hard to deal with and going, and then just telegraphing with that kind of confidence that if this hits you, my next one is going to be coming in for free and hitting you harder, is a very protagonist kind of Bam Jin Mori kind of aspect. I've now found enemies that Cam and Kenny have no idea what they are.
I watched God of High School once, and it really started to fall off for me towards the latter half, so I kind of stopped caring about God
The
of High School.
manhwa is a lot better. I think Soul
So I
Leveling.
hear.
Soul Leveling is probably the first manhwa they adapted that was done very well. God of High School and Tower of God, the first season were very iffy. The second season of Tower of God, I had a lot of fun with.
Okay. I never did watch Tower of God.
I've never heard of most of these.
So if you, I'm sure Toadsie would agree. Have you seen Tower of God, Toadsie?
I've seen a little bit, but I normally stick to like dystopian sci-fi genres.
Oh, I could go.
Have you ever seen Psychopaths?
It's on my list, actually.
That's not dystopian.
Bump it
little
up
bit.
your list. That is my favorite anime. I've seen that whole anime through 4 times. It is so amazing.
So
I have to finish Code Geass, and then it's right after Code Geass.
Okay, I'll accept that.
if you're going to watch Tower of God, my one suggestion would be go in blind. Try to avoid any spoilers or plot twisters out there, because once the plot twists and stuff get ruined for you, it's nowhere near as fun.
That's brutal. All right, I'll keep that in mind.
We're approaching 2 hours, and I've still got my 1 hour school runs, so we'll start to wrap up. Are there any final points that you guys want to make about the alternate universes experience bundles, or just how UVS is handling mechanically unique promos?
No, I think I'm good.
No. I think I said my piece.
Yeah. I think it seems like they're figuring it out. It seems like they're trying a little bit different here, a little bit different there, and that feels like a good approach until you find something that makes not that's gonna make everybody happy, but until you find something that feels really good, just keep tweaking it a little bit.
Yeah.
No, yeah, exactly. They're taking some swings, and as long as it's handled properly, it could be really successful. But it's a kind of dangerous area for them to be in. So we'll wrap up here. As always, thanks for watching. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, do hit the subscribe button. If you want to get your best new player content, head over to Cameron, who has UVS Hermit, who has some of the best new player content out there. And as for our other guests, where can we find you? Let's start off with Kenny. Where can people find you? What kind of content do you make?
Kenny the Geek on basically every platform except for Facebook. It's a mix. It's just kind of I don't have a particular schedule or layout or plan for the channel yet. It's just kind of I make some things from conventions or tournaments that I'm at. I make just random walk and talks. It's just kind of my mind as I'm going through this stuff. And I just got this camera that we're playing with today, so I'm going to be able to do more streaming moving in the future. I haven't had a standalone for my computer, so
that's awesome.
Kenny the Geek everywhere.
Yeah, and if you are in the same area as Kenny the Geek, he does regularly post what stores and what events he's going to, so you will be able to just follow him around and beat him at events.
Yep.
Toadsie, I know yourself, and you have a partner in making content, but But yeah, I'll let you pop off.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, if you're ready to go, pop off with who you are and what content you make.
Yeah, I'm Kang. I'm a part of a trio. We run Deck Check. My partners are Nolan and Miles. Miles has been a little busy recently with life, so he hasn't been in videos. You can find us on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. We're still up and coming, so our accounts are relatively small. If you can find our YouTube, it's just search up Deck Check Universus. We're going to be the very top one. All of our links are in our bio. Feel free to follow us. Let us know what videos you guys would want to see.
Yeah, and if you have made this far into the video on YouTube, I will make sure to link both the channels down there. If I haven't, give me a comment poking me saying you forgot to link the guest channels, and I'll make sure to make sure that gets added on. Huge thanks to you guys for being here. It's great to see more people coming out making content. It's been the same few people, but it's great to see the game is still attracting a lot more content. And it's great to see the kind of content that's coming out there, especially like when we see Kenny out there going, oh, MTG is getting TMNT. Let me go troll them with card reveals.
Yeah, that was a blast. I'm going to do that every time they announce the Universus Beyond set that's something we've already released.
If you haven't seen it, it's a great laugh. Kenny has a magic card on the back going, here's your first Star Trek reveal or your first TMNT reveal, and he flips it over and it's one of our cards.
I adore that.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, thanks for you guys for being here. You had some amazing points. I'll make sure to get you guys in again if you've had a lot of fun. First time guests being in. If you have got any notes, anything you want me to improve for the future, let me know. And we'll catch you all next week for if you guys are going to be at events. Best of luck, and we'll sign off here with the fact that this has been UK Versus, bringing you theories, news or more, win, lose or draw. Bye.
Thanks for having me.